Mr. Condino, do you want to hand out the information you have and explain it a bit?
So I'm handing out a package that was actually, these are the final secret documents that were actually distributed yesterday to the board. They include the secret part 1, secret part 2, secret part 3. There's an addendum to secret part 3, and there's also a copy of the local law with the findings. And the same documents that were distributed yesterday to the board that have been reviewed continually over the last several weeks.
Mr. Supervisor, I submitted a written request for those copies.
Once the meeting's over and it's a public document, you can receive copies, Mr. Zemelis.
We're entitled to copies that are scheduled to be discussed.
Once it's a public meeting is over and they're in the public record, you will receive copies, Mr. Zemelis.
Okay. We're entitled to receive them before or after the meeting.
Yes, sir. I understand your concern, but I was counseled that once the meeting is over and the public documents, that you will receive copies.
All right. I just want to cite for the record section 103E of the open meetings law. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay,
Can I say something?
no, I'm going to read this first, and then we can have discussion on any pertinent matters. You received copies of everything that we've had and we've discussed over the past week, 2 weeks, and even longer than that. But these are the finalized versions that you all received last night. So it is the intention of the seeker, which is state environmental quality review. So it is the intention of the seeker regulations that a suitable balance of social, economic, and environmental factors be incorporated into the planning and decision-making process. It is not the intention of seeker that environmental factors be the sole consideration in decision-making. The proposed action, issuance of local law number 2 of 2017, has been reviewed in accordance with the seeker regulations, Title 6 of the New York Codes, Rules, and Regulations, Part 617. The proposed action has been determined to meet criteria for classification as an unlisted action. A short environmental assessment form, SEAF, Parts 1, 2, and 3, was prepared to support. Part 1 on the SEAF indicates that the proposed action involves the legislative adoption of a local law. As instructed by the SEAF, a narrative description of the proposed action has been completed and the review proceeded to Part 2. Parts 2 and 3 of the SEAF seek to further review the potential impacts of the proposed action, which again is the issuance of local law number 2 of 2017. An addendum to Part 3 was completed to support the conclusions drawn in Part 2 and to further support the determination of significance related to the proposed action. Throughout the seeker process for the proposed action, the town board solicited public comment, most notably through completion of a public hearing on March 29th. Held review meetings with the attorney for the town, special counsel from Boiling Code, and with the town engineers, and reviewed and vetted multiple drafts of the proposed seeker support documents prior to taking action. In conducting this seeker process, the town board has considered reasonably related long-term, short-term, direct, indirect, and cumulative impacts, and has considered the significance of any likely consequences of the proposed action. Considering the review that has been completed, the documents and comments that have been presented to the board, and the scope, context, and magnitude of proposed action, the town board makes the following determination: that based on the information and analysis included on the SEAF, an additional supporting document, the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. And then there's the findings that we have in local law, the proposed local law, which I will read now. And the findings in the proposed local law are: the town board provides the following reasons and supports as follows. A, the town of Seneca Falls waste disposal law was enacted to restrict waste disposal operations within the town of Seneca Falls and prohibit the operation of solid waste management facilities in the town by December 1st, 2025. Facilities with a valid solid waste management facilities permit, otherwise recognized as a Title VI NYCRR Part 360 permit issued by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, NYSDEC, prior to November 1st, 2017, were exempted from the waste disposal law for the duration of the operating period, but such operations was not permitted to extend beyond December 31st, 2025. Rescinding the town of Seneca Falls waste disposal law will not deregulate solid waste management facility operations within the town of Seneca Falls. Such facilities within New York State will continue to be strictly monitored and inspected in accordance with the applicable state and federal regulations. The NYSDEC regulates solid waste management facilities under 6 NYCRR Part 360, which enforces strict requirements for waste placement and coverage, leachate collection and treatment, acceptable waste types, environmental monitoring, and various other aspects of landfill construction and management. In addition, landfill operators are required to submit reports to the NYSDEC detailing the amount and types of waste disposal, remaining permitted capacity, and water quality and leachate monitoring data, among other details. Air quality at solid waste management facilities is regulated under the Prevention and Control of Air Contamination and Air Pollution, Regulation 6 NYCRR Part 201. Wastewater discharge is also state regulated by the State Pollution Discharge Elimination System, SPDES. Regulations under Article 17, Water Pollution Control, the Environmental Conservation Law, 6 NYCRR Part 750. Prior to the passage of the waste, and then we go on to C. Prior to the passage of the waste disposal law in 2016, the town of Seneca Falls had adopted code provisions specifically to regulate landfills in 1975. These code provisions have been amended and updated over the years and now appear in the Seneca Falls Town Code as Chapter 185. The local law required solid waste management entities to obtain a local permit from the town board prior to the construction or operation of a sanitary landfill in the town of Seneca Falls. This local law afforded the town the opportunity to review proposed facilities and prohibit and or impose special conditions on landfill operations regarding the receipt, handling, treatment of disposal of special waste as necessary to protect public health and safety, welfare, and the environment, including conditions that address odor, dust, noise, traffic, water, and air quality, property values, tourism, and economic development. Thus, the town's authority under existing Chapter 185 is more than sufficient to address the concerns that were stated in the findings of Waste Disposal Law of 2016. Through the NYSDEC had and continues to have primary jurisdiction over the regulation of solid waste management facilities, Chapter 185 of the Seneca Falls Town Code ensured that the town remained knowledgeable and had local jurisdiction of the city, siting and operation of potential and operational landfill sites within its municipal limits. Proposed and active solid waste management facilities are required to obtain a local permit from the town board on an annual basis. D, The Seneca County Environmental Conservation Plan 2014 emphasizes that landfill operations are an essential asset to Seneca County's economy. The town currently is the site of one active regulated solid waste management facility, the Seneca Meadows landfill. The landfill generates millions of dollars in revenue for the county each year and provides employment for many local residents. The landfill operates under numerous federal, state, and local regulations. As previously mentioned, the landfill is required to maintain compliance with state and federal regulations, as well as obtain a local permit each year from the town of Seneca Falls under Chapter 185, and that's in the town code. The Seneca Meadows landfill has continued to expand over time, in part due to increased restrictions set by Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, in 1988. The change in standards enacted at that time placed more stringent environmental compliance requirements on landfill facilities. According to the Seneca County Environmental Conservation Plan, many smaller operations were forced to close due to elevated management costs. It is recognized that there has been a statewide focus to move toward more sustainable development and waste management practices. But at this time, a practical need for landfill remains, even as communities and populations work toward limiting landfill waste. As included in the Town of Seneca Falls Comprehensive Plan, the concept of energy production, recycling, and reuse of materials were to be promoted and encouraged within the community. The comprehensive plan suggested that the town take the opportunity to actively use the landfill's strength to diversify the economy and use the current landfill site, alternative energy and recycling innovations to set a foundation on which to be recognized as a cutting-edge, environmentally responsible, and innovative community. F. Future proposed expansions or modifications to the operations at Seneca Meadows landfill, as well as any future proposals to site solid waste material management facilities within the town of Seneca Falls, will need to undergo a full review to weigh the potential environmental, social, and economic benefits and potential impacts that may result in accordance with the SEQRA regulations, Part 6 NYCRR, Part 617. The adoption of local law number 2 of 2017 is an administrative in nature, and if individual applications are filed with the town board in the future relative to the expansion, construction, or operation of a solid waste management facility in the town of Seneca Falls, a specific environmental review of each application will be undertaken at that time. There are multiple opportunities available throughout the seeker process that can call for public participation and comment. In addition, the town's existing host community agreement authorizes existing solid waste management facility activities through the life of a landfill expansion, as permitted by the NYSDEC, which is December 31st, 2025, the same date provided for in the waste disposal of 2016. Any change to the host agreement would require amendment of the agreement by a vote of the town board. Now I'll go on to the resolution. So I so move. Resolution of the town board of Seneca Falls. Town board determining that the action to execute local law number 2, 2017 is an unlisted action and will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment. Whereas the town of Seneca Falls Town Board is reviewing issuance of proposed local law number 2 of 2017. The action which would rescind the existing waste disposal law, also recognized as local law number 3 of 2016. Whereas pursuant to Article 8 in the Environmental Conservation Law as amended, the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, and implementing regulations at 6 NYCRR Part 617, the regulations, the town board desires to comply with the secret and the regulations, and whereas the town of Seneca Falls Town Board is identified as the lead agency since they are the entity directly undertaking the proposed action and there is no other involved agency, identified in connection with the issuance of local law number 2 of 2017, as that term is defined in 6 NYCRR Part 617.2 paragraph S, and whereas the town board held a public meeting on a proposed action to receive community comment, and whereas pursuant to the regulations, the town board has considered the significance of the potential environmental impacts of the action by A, using the criteria specified in section 617.7 of the regulations, and B, examining the short environmental assessment form, SEAF, for the action, including the facts and conclusions of part 1, 2, and 3 of the SEAF, together with the other available supporting information to identify and thoroughly analyze the relevant areas of environmental concern. And whereas the proposed adoption of local law number 2 is an unlisted action as defined by 6 NYCRR Part 617.2 AK. Now therefore be it resolved pursuant to and in accordance with the review requirements for the unlisted actions and the secret regulations, the Town of Seneca Falls Town Board hereby confirms that the proposed action meets the criteria for the classification as an unlisted action, and be it further resolved that based upon an examination of the SEAF and other available supporting information, and considering both the magnitude and importance of each relevant area of the environmental concern, the town board makes the following findings and determinations. No significant adverse environmental impacts are noted in the SEAF or corresponding addendum for the action, and none are known to the town board. And the detailed findings of the town board are included in the Town of Seneca Falls proposed local law number 2, 2017 narrative document. And the action will not have a significant adverse environmental impact. It will not require the preparation of a draft environmental impact statement, DEIS, with respect to the action. And be it further resolved that as a consequence of such determination, in compliance with the requirements of SEQRA, SEQRA, and the regulations, the town board directs the town supervisor to sign and complete parts 1 and 3 of the SEAF for the action, and further resolved that this resolution shall take place immediately. I need a second.
Second it.
Discussion.
I believe a few weeks ago, all 5 of us decided with our lawyers to follow up on the Article 78, which has not happened. The environmental impact of local law 2 is uncertain. There was a lot of testimony from citizens, like you said, the public hearing, the awful odors and negative impact on families and homes. We owe it to everyone, including Seneca Meadows, a thorough investigation reviewing this impact, not a short form. I've been saying that through all our meetings, to Pat and all of you. I think we should do a long form. I'm afraid you're going to end up like Del Lago did. They did a short form and then got held up for a year for doing the long form.
Well, as for the environmental assessment form, this is an unlisted action. We did talk about the long form versus the short form, but we've also, in reviewing that, in reviewing the guidance of the Department of Environmental Conservation, they recommend using the short form for unlisted actions, and also specifically for administrative type actions, where this is, which this is. This is an adoption of a local law. Okay. This isn't a specific project. The long form is more geared and designed for a specific physical action, which this isn't. This is the adoption of a law. So we did review that, but the DEC's own guidance is saying that the short form is more appropriate for this type of action.
Now, do we plan on voting on that law tonight?
Yes.
So.
Okay. I hate to say this, Tom. I think you should not vote on this tonight. You know, out in public, you receive money from the landfill, and I think there's a conflict of interest.
for, Mr. DeLaylis.
What's that?
That's uncalled for, Mr. DeLaylis.
Think back when this law was put in, okay? When Mrs. Lutz was on the board, we got a letter from Nixon Peabody a day before that. And it was asking to her not to have her vote count. She voted, but it happened to be 4-1 instead of 3-1. I'm sure if it was 3-2, they would have been having us go to court because she voted and it ended up 3-2. But it ended up 4-1, and even if they didn't count her vote, it still passed.
Well, they did challenge that, and that's one of the things that they're...
And that's why I think we should go over the Article 78 and find out if we were right or wrong.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Delaney just stated that we voted 5-0, I believe, to take it to Article 78.
No, we met.
Numerous times, and I never said that. Right from the beginning, I have maintained I'm not going to spend another dime of the town's money to litigate any more of this. Last year, we spent $120,000 to a special attorney. So far this year, we've spent a lot of money.
And that attorney told us that night it cost about $30,000. Am I right, Vic? He mentioned it'd be about $30,000 to do with the Article 78. Okay. And I thought we were in agreement that we were going to do
So
it.
that being, not with me, that being said, the amount of money that we've spent already on this, I never said that. And I'll never spend that. I'll never spend a dime on that.
Well, I'm just afraid that we'll end up with another lawsuit and then we're still going to end up spending money.
No, not by my hand.
Okay.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, I got something to say. Seneca Meadows is a business. I'm business oriented. Take that money from a business? Sure. There's many other businesses that gave me money.
But they don't get a vote.
You think they got my vote?
Yeah.
We're not discussing this, we're discussing this as a board.
Well, let's put on record, I like businesses too.
Yeah, okay, right.
I like business to be in town too.
Okay, this is not germane to a conversation at hand. Is there any more discussion? Seeing none, we go to a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Opposed?
Mrs. Greer, will you take a roll call vote, please?
Lou Farrar,
Yay.
Dave DeLaylis,
No.
Greg Mazzaro,
Yes.
Tom Ruzicka,
Yes.
Rick Paretta.
No.
Motion passed.
Okay, so the town has completed the seeker review. They found a negative declaration. This is the State Environmental Quality Review was done for the purpose of local law number 2 of 2017. The public hearing for that law has already been held, and the board members all have the final version of local law number 2 for 2017 before them, and this is now appropriate for a vote.
Okay. I will put that as a motion. I'll read the whole law. And Town of Seneca Falls. Proposed Town of Seneca Falls Local Law Number 2, 2017. Section 1, titled, "The Local Law to Rescind the Town of Seneca Falls Waste Disposal Law." Number 2, enacting clause. Be it enacted by the Town Board or the Town of Seneca Falls as follows. The Town Board proposes to implement the Town of Seneca Falls Local Law Number 2 of 2017, which rescinds Local Law Number 3 of 2016, otherwise recognized as the Town of Seneca Falls Waste Disposal Law. Number 3, findings. The Town Board provides the following reasons in support as follows. A, the Town of Seneca Falls Waste Disposal Law was enacted to restrict waste disposal operations within the Town of Seneca Falls and prohibit the operation of solid waste management facilities in the town by December 1st, 2025. Facilities with a valid solid waste management facilities permit, otherwise recognized as Title VI NYCRR Part 360 permit issued by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, NYSDEC, prior to November 1st, 2017, were exempted from the waste disposal law for the duration of their operating permit, but such operation was not permitted to extend beyond December 31st, 2025. B, rescinding the town of Seneca Falls waste disposal law will not deregulate solid waste management facilities operations within the town of Seneca Falls. Such facilities within New York State will continue to be strictly monitored and inspected in accordance with applicable state and federal regulations. The NYSDEC regulates solid waste management facilities under 6 NYCRR Part 360, which enforces strict requirements for waste placement coverage, leachate collection and treatment, acceptable waste types, environmental monitoring, and various other aspects of landfill construction and management. In addition to landfill, operators are required to submit annual reports to the NYSDEC detailing the amount and types of waste disposed, remaining permitted capacity and water quality and leachate monitoring data, among other details. Air quality at solid waste management facilities is regulated under the Prevention and Control of Air Contamination and Air Pollution Regulations, 6 NYCRR Part 201. Wastewater discharge is also state regulated by the State Pollution Discharge Elimination System, SPDES regulations under Article 17, Water Pollution Control and the Environmental Conservation Law, 6 NYCRR Part 750. C, prior to the passage of the waste disposal law in 2016, the town of Seneca Falls has adopted code provisions specifically to regulate landfills in 1975. These code provisions have been amended and updated over the years and now appear in the Seneca Falls Town Code as Chapter 185. The local law required solid waste management entities to obtain a local permit from the town board prior to the construction or operation of a sanitary landfill in the town of Seneca Falls. This local law afforded the town the opportunity to review proposed facilities and to prohibit and or impose special conditions on landfill operations regarding the receipt, handling, treatment, or disposal of special waste is necessary to protect public health, safety, welfare, and the environment, including conditions that addresses odor, dust, noise, traffic, water and air quality, property values, tourism, and economic development. Thus, the town's authority under existing Chapter 185 is more than sufficient to address the concerns that were stated in the findings of the Waste Disposal Law of 2016. Through the NYSDEC and continues to have primary jurisdiction over regulation of solid waste management facilities. Chapter 185 of the Seneca Falls Town Code ensured that the town remained knowledgeable and had local jurisdiction of the city and operation of potential and operational landfill sites within the its municipal limits. Proposed and active solid waste management facilities are required to obtain a local permit from the town board on an annual basis. D, the Seneca County Environmental Conservation Plan 2014 emphasizes that landfill operations are an essential asset to Seneca County's economy. The town currently of the active regulated solid waste management facility in Seneca Meadows landfill. The landfill generates millions of dollars in revenue for the county each year and provides employment for many local residents. The landfill operates under numerous federal, state, and local regulations. As previously mentioned, the landfill is required to maintain compliance with state and federal regulations as well as obtain a local permit each year from the town of Seneca Falls under Chapter 185 Town Code. The Seneca Meadows landfill has continued to expand over time, in part due to increased restrictions set in place by the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, in 1988. The change in standards enacted at that time placed more stringent environmental compliance requirements on landfill facilities. According to the Seneca County Environmental Conservation Plan, many smaller operations were forced to close due to elevated management costs. E, it is recognized that there has been a statewide focus to move toward more sustainable development and waste management practices, but at this time, a practical need for landfill remains, even as communities and populations work toward limiting landfill waste. As included in the Town of Seneca Falls Comprehensive Plan, the concepts of energy production, recycling, and reuse of materials were to be promoted and encouraged within the community. The comprehensive plan suggested that the town take the opportunity to actively use the landfill's strength to diversify the economy and use the current landfill sites, alternative energy and recycling innovations to set a foundation on which to be recognized as a cutting-edge, environmentally responsible, and innovative community. F, future proposed expansions or modifications to the operations at the Seneca Meadows landfill, as well as any proposals to site solid waste management facilities within the town of Seneca Falls, will need to undergo a full review to weigh the potential environmental, social, and economic benefits and potential impacts that may result in accordance with the SEPA regulations 6 NYCRR Part 617. The adoption of local law number 2 of 2017 is administrative in nature, and if individual applications are filed with the town board in the future relative to expansion, construction, or operation of a solid waste management facility in the town of Seneca Falls, a specific environmental review of each application will be undertaken at that time. There are multiple opportunities available throughout the secret process that calls for public participation and comment. In addition, the town's existing host community agreement authorizes existing solid waste management facility activities through the life of the landfill expansion as permitted by the NYSDEC, which is December 31st, 2025. The same date provided for in the Waste Disposal Law of 2016. Any change to the host agreement would require amendment of the agreement by a vote of the town board. Number 4, effective date. Local law number 2 shall become effective if passed when filed in the office of the Secretary of State. I have a motion, I need a second.
Second it.
Discussion. Seeing no discussion, we'll go to a vote. All in favor? Aye.
No.
All opposed?
No.
Mrs. Greer, will you take a roll call vote?
Lou Ferrara,
Yes.
Dave DeLaylis,
No.
Greg Lazaro.
Yes.
Tom Ruzicka,
Yes.
Nick Coretta,
No.
Motion passes. Seeing no more business coming before this board, I move to adjourn. I need a second.
I'll second.
Second discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes.